Lot of cahoots and not locked up cahoots, like not tightened up cahoots.
Yeah.
These cahoots were loose as fuck. Loose cahoots.
Loose cahoots.
Yeah, they drink blood and eat flesh.
Cool. A bird, a rat, some muck. A human arm, a bird, a rat, some muck.
When you set up a murder scheme, you want to make sure that as many people
Everyone
as possible know all the details.
Every once in a while, you say something, and I'm just like, what the fuck? God bless her.
Well, it's going to get even more unfair.
Great.
No!
Cancel Kenyon.
Viewer discretion is advised.
All right. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
Sure
yeah.
Ugh.
Mid-Atlantic accent.
Well, sometimes when the episode calls
When
for
it calls, yeah.
Yeah, we'll burst into any other kind of accent, but there's only one that's really authentic to us.
Like a warm hug. A warm hug.
Warm.
A warm embrace.
Who are we?
Oh, I'm Kenyon.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda, and I am thrilled to announce
What
that
now?
I went to bed in Hog Girl Summer, and I woke up in Hog Girl Fall.
Yes.
Oh, today is amazing.
It's
cloudy.
finally happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 100 degrees here every day for like a week and a half.
I've got a 3-wick fall candle happening.
Oh.
Yes.
It's still 86 degrees here, but there's not going to be a day above 86 on the horizon.
That ain't right.
Oh, that'll
that's
get you into
65
October.
here.
It's something. I'll take it.
65.
God
Mhm.
damn it.
Mhm.
She's real nice here.
Yeah, it's
So,
gorgeous.
I was
it's
amped about
gorgeous.
my low 80s.
No, I made myself a hot matcha. I enjoyed it in my cozy sweater that used to be poppies, and I sat out front, had my little morning warm almond milk matcha latte. Gal.
Next week there's like a high
Wow.
of 67 and rain.
Oh my God.
I can't wait.
Here for it.
I have at least another month before we get there.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll get there, honey.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, we'll be bitching about winter.
That's
Oh,
true.
God, it's coming.
That's true.
But for now, foul.
All right, so we've got a couple exciting things to plug for the
Yo,
fall.
Malt plug.
We're going to be doing a live show in Dallas.
Woo!
Woo! We freaking love Dallas.
We really do.
Texas is fun.
Yeah,
I like doing my
Texas-
Texas bow.
Yep.
All the
I mean,
yellow
dip.
roses, all the songs.
We hate your politics, but
Hate.
we do like your fun people.
We
Yeah.
like your people that also hate your politics. Anyway, so we're doing a Dallas live show. It's going to be Thursday, October 19th at the Texas Theater. And we are taking part in this year's Obsessed Fest.
Oh, we're so excited.
I'm so pumped.
fun.
It's going to be the best.
Brought to you by the Obsessed Network. That's going to be also in Dallas, October 20th through 22nd. And just go to our website for more info and links to buy tickets to neither,
Either or both.
That website is wineandcrimepodcast.com. All right, we're going to see you in Texas, y'all.
I'm going to have my Fuck Ted Cruz crop top dry cleaned for the occasion.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure she's in tip-tap shape.
I wore my abortion access is a community responsibility shirt in an XL over my big old belly.
God
Oh,
bless.
I love that.
Mwah.
All right. Well, moving on. Amanda, no, we need to tell the topic. We've done this 334 times.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have selected, it's a hog girl fall. We've selected the topic of maritime murders.
Get back to the ocean, dip your toe in.
That's right. Just
Try
feel
to
those-
avoid prosecution.
those lapping waves and forget about all of the human waste that's been
Oh, God.
dumped
We'll get to it.
No!
Just the tons and tons of cruise ship diarrhea.
We'll
just
get to it.
plopped right on in there. All right.
Mm.
Well, Amanda, what's our wine crime pairing for Maritime Murders?
Well, I do have a fun bottle for us today. I personally am not drinking it because it's the middle of the day and I have an affair to drive to afterward.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that once I pop, Mandy cannot stop. And so I have to be able to operate a motor vehicle.
Fair.
But my case this week takes place in the Pacific. So I grabbed my bottle of Pacificana Chardonnay.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Which, as I'm not usually a Chardonnay person, I really like this one. It's barrel fermented, but it's not like overly butterly or super oaky. It sips a little bit cleaner, a little bit more like, say, a Viognier or like a, what's Lucy's favorite?
Greenish.
Sauv Blanc.
Mm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a California-style Chardonnay, and it's allegedly, and also can confirm because I've had it before, embodies the bold, pioneering spirit of the California landscape and those who call it home. It's a happy place where the mountains meet the sand and the great Pacific meets the sky, the waves breaking under its clear, sunny veil.
Okay.
That paints a picture.
It does paint a picture, but it also doesn't tell us anything about the tasting notes. But what you can expect from this are hints of like toasted coconut. That's where some of your butteriness is going to come from, but not as much of a old lady palate blaster. You're going to get some nice fresh apple, a little bit of acidity, like some pineapple notes, a little bit of vanilla from that barrel aging.
Vanilla.
But
Vanilla
this has
sky.
vanilla sky. But this one has a higher acidity, so that's gonna like cut through some of that butteriness and find a little bit more of a balanced and rich white wine. She also clocks in at 13.7% ABV, so she's delicate, but she's not nothing. She'll get you weird if you commit.
She's no shrinking violet.
She's no shrinking violet. And also, she is a cracker, so you can very easily open this without any tool beyond the mouth, elbow pit, or hand. So cheers if you're drinking, and if you're
Cheers.
not, enjoy your bubble water. Me.
Yeah, we're recording during the
Flat
day and
water.
we're all in our mid-30s now, so
Mm-hmm.
Drink again? I drank 3 weeks ago.
I know. I did have a cheeky glass of Sauv Blanc last night, and it was delish.
Cute.
Yeah. So that's
I'm
where
still a
that's
bone
where
dry
we're at.
over here.
I had a dark and stormy the other night just for funsies, and it was delish.
Oh, that's good for Maritime Murders. A dark and stormy is good.
That would be really good for Maritime Murders. What was I thinking? Well, you can make that too.
I did spill some SpaghettiOs on my Lake Superior shirt.
Also good for Maritime Murders.
I wore this shirt for Maritime Murders. So
That's
I
what
didn't
that little
change. I
orange
just
stain-
wiped it off.
Yeah, you can see it. It's just little.
Right there.
Well, maybe you could just rub some cheesecake on it and it'll even out. Are you still on that train? It's so cute.
I'm never getting off that train.
Yeah, she
It's a great
sent us
train
a
to be
picture
on.
of cheesecake on a menu like 4 days ago
Oh my God.
with no context.
So for Zach's recent birthday, we went to this new Mediterranean, like Israeli/Arabic spot in
Called the
Louisville.
Cheesecake Factory, Louisville.
I wish. No, we
so authentic.
they have gone really downhill since they got rid of their kale Caesar salad, and we have not ordered from them in a while. But no, we went to this place called Mish Mish, and it was so freaking good. It's
Yum.
for people in Louisville. It's in Nulu. It's so good. And we had for dessert chocolate babka with a
Yum.
cream cheese spread
Yum.
on a board.
Yep.
Yum.
It was
Lucy's about to
cry.
Kool-Aid Man through the computer to get to Louisville for this podcast.
It was
Oh yeah!
so good. It was like a sweet cream cheese spread, like almost like a in between cream cheese and like a frosting.
Oh,
Okay.
like a buttercream kind of a thing.
Yeah.
On my way.
Spread on a board with a thing
On
of
my
like
way.
decadent babka, like good ass babka. And then my brilliant husband, I don't know if I've ever been more attracted to him in my life, was like talking to the waitress or the server, and he was like, so, I want this babka, but you can't have babka without cold milk. Do you have any cold milk? And she was like, let me talk to chef. And she came back with a beautiful chilled glass topped off of cold milk. It was so beautiful.
I mean, I hate milk, but even that sounds decent to me.
That sounds good.
And now they're going to be adding shots of cold milk to the babka board, to the
Look
menu.
at you.
Oh my God,
You've made
I've
waves.
never been more attracted to your husband.
I know.
He's genius.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So anyway, that's my shout out. It came out of, I don't remember the
Maritime Murders.
Yeah. Babka.
Cheesecake.
Nailed it.
It all goes
Okay.
back.
Lucy, what is our background and maybe psych for Maritime Murders?
There's no psych except for the effect that my notes are going to have on Amanda.
Great. Everyone's favorite psych.
Okay. According to the OED, one of my side chicks, the word maritime, which means connected with the sea, especially in relation to seafaring, commercial, or military activity, comes from the Latin word maritimus. Maritimus. We usually hear the word maritime in relation to maritime law, also referred to as admiralty law. I don't know why I can't say that.
Nailed it.
Which is the body of law that governs navigation and shipping. So even though these two words are usually used interchangeably, they're technically not the same thing when you get down to courtroom definitions, but we don't need to know about that. So I'm not even going to tell you about that.
Great.
So I'm just going to call them maritime. It's all maritime for this episode.
Great. Love it.
So regarding the U.S., maritime laws govern navigation and shipping not only in U.S. tidal waters, TIDAL, tidal,
Okay.
but also any waters within the U.S. used for navigation. So we've got bays, channels, large lakes, Lake Superior, with or without Spaghetti-O stain,
I prefer with.
Obviously.
long rivers, passages and canals between the lakes, because I didn't realize till recently when we were at Split Rock Lighthouse that you can get from the fucking Atlantic Ocean to Duluth, Minnesota from
You sure
all the
can.
channels through the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shipping,
It's
baby.
not like the easiest route, but you can do it.
There was a Nigerian ship right by our hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Nigeria.
Well, there are a lot of ships that fly flags of random ass countries because then they don't have to submit to certain regulatory bullshit.
So it could have been that.
So there are a lot of ships that fly Liberian flags or
But
whatever.
that said, it's still physically possible to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I also
Very
didn't
cool.
see any flag. I just heard a rumor from someone who lived there that was that Nigerian ship that's been there for 8 months or something, trying to get its papers to come ashore and drop off their shit so they can fucking leave.
That
sounds like a nightmare.
Sound great. Yeah.
No, it was.
What's on the ship?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Hopefully nothing perishable.
The
or
queen of the
human.
no follow-up to a very interesting tidbit.
I don't know.
I just heard
but
it
they
from, a
wanted one
local.
all together. So then I
I don't know.
that.
I was there for one fucking reason only.
I was the jacuzzi next to the bed in my hotel room.
That's true. That was real nice.
It was nice. Okay, so navigable waters, another word I can't fucking say, are divided into territorial waters, which are close to the land, and high seas, which are further away from the land. Some related topics include shipping, navigation, waters, commerce, seamen, towage, wharves, which is plural, wharfs, wharves,
Wharfs fair.
chevs, piers and docks, insurance, maritime liens, canals, recreation, and piracy.
Yeah, baby.
Cool.
So I was kind of curious about territorial waters. So I found this from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Quote, each coastal state may claim a territorial sea that extends seaward up to 12 nautical miles from the shore.
Interesting.
The coastal state exercises sovereignty over its territorial sea, the airspace above it, and the seabed and subsoil beneath it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a photo is on the drive, which will be on the blog, of like the territorial waters that belong to the U.S.
Mhm.
This is kind of interesting. I kind of thought that once you were like a couple miles out, it was just all like a
Every man for
free-for-all.
himself.
Well, there needed to be a line because otherwise, you could just have like Russian subs just like right next to all of our bays, and it would
I have
get
to
pretty
imagine,
awkward.
like, also for like offshore drilling and all kinds of things
Yeah.
like that, you'd want to establish some sort of ownership of that area.
Yep.
And like, what's it called if you're like fleeing from one country to another country?
Refugee?
Yeah, I don't asylum seeking.
Asylum?
I
Yeah.
don't know how that works. If maybe the country whose territorial waters it is
that
are responsible,
responsible?
but I
Yeah.
don't know if it counts if you make it to the water as the asylum seeker, if that counts as like having reached that country or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of information out there, and I did. It was too much to wade through
Okay.
to get every answer that I was
Boo.
wondering about.
Sure.
So there are state maritime laws, which I sort of just mentioned, but also general federal maritime laws that precede all the state laws,
Mm-hmm.
supersede. The common law does not act as a binding precedent on admiralty courts, but it and other laws may be used when no other law on the point is available. So it's their backup laws.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when we think of maritime law, we think of all the possible loopholes associated with maritime laws. According to Global Citizen, there are multiple things that people can get away with at sea because very frequently countries lack the willpower and resources to enforce
Prosecute.
maritime law.
Tell me all of the loopholes
So
for a friend.
I'm
Those-
gonna buy a boat.
I'm getting myself a seaworthy vessel.
we're gonna need a bigger boat. Those things
Exactly.
include water pollution. So you can just go out to wherever and dump a bunch of crude oil or whatever if you want to.
Cool.
Easier than getting rid of it,
Close to shore.
the so-called ethical way.
Yikes.
Ditto for air pollution, kidnapping,
Mm-hmm.
raiding the piracy,
Mm-hmm.
labor exploitation. We talked about this when our cruise ship disappearances.
Mhm.
A
Yep.
lot of the staff and crew on cruise ships are like
Massively
crazy
exploited.
underpaid and exploited
Yeah.
Mhm.
and like not allowed to leave.
Great.
Similarly, slavery,
Yikes.
murder, also went over a lot of that on cruise ship disappearances.
Mm-hmm.
Resource exploitation. So I'm assuming that would be like overfishing,
Mm-hmm.
for example,
Okay.
and also debt avoidance. So
Okay.
Now we're speaking my language.
Yeah.
I just got to move out to
Okay.
the ocean, bitch.
yeah.
Try and get me to pay.
My student loans back.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there something like
Maybe I
a bunch
should get
of
a boat.
Russian oligarchs were like living on their boats,
on their yachts, probably.
on their
Mhm.
yachts to
I mean,
avoid
eventually they'd have to
prosecution.
dock, but yeah,
But like, would they? If they had enough money, they could get a boat to come out and like
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just give them
dock
everything
and
they need.
refill.
yeah, I guess
Could
be
just
a billionaire, but
stay
you
at
have to have
sea
a
forever.
bank somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. Where I'm not a Russian billionaire,
Yeah, I don't know.
sadly.
So doubling back to what we were touching on before, for example, and we've talked about this several times because I fucking hate cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
US based cruise ships are completely allowed to dump raw sewage and food waste into the ocean if they are more than 3 miles off the shore of the US.
That's way too short.
Yep.
That's
and,
way too few miles.
and that's just
3
for the
miles.
US. A lot of cruise ships are based in other countries, so they
Mhm.
are beholden to different
Rules.
rules.
Mhm.
Basically, any cruise ship can dump at minimum their food waste and their poop
Yikes.
in the ocean.
Hate it.
That's horrible.
And do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking gross. Don't the fish poop enough? We need all your diarrhea also from like
Ours
the buffet.
is way worse. Yeah.
Yeah. We have like
Our shit is way more polluting than
Toxic.
fish shit. Yeah.
It's just full of microplastics and like
Oh, God.
Xanax.
yeah.
The orcas are so chill right now, though, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I want the orcas to take over cruise ships. Just-
Yeah.
Millions of orcas. Not that there are millions of orcas. Speaking of the open ocean, as promised, here are some new fears for Amanda.
Great.
And I know we've also kind of touched on this. I don't think about this one in particular, but in our Bermuda Triangles episode.
Uh-huh.
According to the National Ocean Service, the ocean has an average depth of 2.3 miles. Average.
That's nuts.
Isn't that
It's
fucking
too
crazy?
deep. It makes me like breathe heavily.
Different. Yeah.
Different.
Differently.
I don't
Air's hitting these lungs different right now after hearing that fact. Golly.
And like, you don't even have to be that deep to be like totally crushed by the pressure alone.
Yeah, we know.
You can drown in a few inches.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Yes, new mother, we do know that.
Just spreading awareness.
Do you follow Lauren the Mortician on Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. Because you're totally one of those.
I like to spread awareness. You never know whose life you can save.
You never know. Nothing wrong with spreading awareness.
Says the mom whose baby may or may not have fallen off the bed last night. She's fine.
Fine.
That was
She's fine.
totally Zach's fault, not yours.
It-
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Mhm.
It
I'm on your side.
happens.
The deepest part of the ocean is called the Challenger Deep. Why? Why give it that name? It's so fucking creepy.
I don't love
deep
it. And
part.
didn't the Challenger
Isn't deepest part of the ocean enough of a name?
And didn't the Challenger spacecraft explode?
Yeah.
Could we not?
This is Challenger going the other way.
Jesus Christ.
So it is located in the western Pacific Ocean at the southern end of the Mariana Trench. The Challenger Deep is approximately 6.8 miles deep.
What?
And they don't even know really how deep it is because they can't fucking go down there.
I really don't love
Can't
it.
even fathom that.
Okay. And I love the ocean. I like
I'm out of
swimming
my
in the
depth.
ocean. But I hate the open ocean. It freaks me out way too much.
Canyon and the waves.
Now,
Yeah, no. She
No.
dipped one toe in Florida and was done.
the ocean freaks
Not
me
even.
out, man.
Over it.
You just
would
went
not wanna live
toward
by
the
it.
ocean. No, I wouldn't want to live by
Too
it.
scary.
I would in a heartbeat.
I do
Yeah.
like the Indian Ocean. It's usually chiller.
Okay.
Meaning calmer,
Yeah, like,
warmer.
yeah. If you go at the right time of year.
The only ocean I like is the Indian Ocean.
Well, where's the lie?
Every once in a while, you say something, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't know. I really just prefer the Indian Ocean. Check snails.
Depends on the season.
But yeah, you really have to go at the right time of year.
You
Anyway,
go- yeah. I mean, it's beautiful.
next!
My preferred ocean is where the Atlantic
Everybody
and the
lists
Pacific
their
meet.
favorite ocean.
Listen,
Where they
I'm a
meet at
Jersey
Cape
Shore
Horn.
bitch.
Patagonia.
Huge Atlantic Ocean, South Jersey fan.
Yeah.
Huge.
Crabs.
They got sharks and crabs and really good lobster. Anyway,
I really like the Indian Ocean too.
It's really nice. It's beautiful.
It's way
The waters
chill.
are turquoise. There are like no waves.
well,
for
in New
that one
Jersey, the water is
tsunami.
often brown, and I love that color brown.
I love the sulfur scent of
Next.
the
I love
Jersey
the
Shore.
cruise ship dump smell wafting ashore.
I love it.
Oh my God. Okay. Speaking of all of those oceans, the number of species that live in the ocean is
It's unknown.
completely unknown.
Yeah.
Scientists estimate that 91% of ocean species have yet to be classified.
91?
So they're like, well, we know there's that little critter, but we don't know what the fuck it is.
No.
Or like we've only seen it once or twice. We haven't captured one to like
Study
figure
it.
out what it is.
I hate
So maybe
that.
mermaids are real.
Honestly, mermaids super could be real.
Oh my God.
They also estimate, this is so gross, that more than 80% of the ocean is unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored.
Oh, okay.
No.
I just think this is a job for all of the billionaires.
Yeah. Go down
To-
there, guys.
yeah.
Check it
No.
out.
Don't.
Check it out.
Because then they'll lay claim to it and start stripping it of all of its resources.
They're not going to make
They
it.
won't.
That's the
they
point.
Won't make it to the top.
Oh,
That's
Start
fine.
at the Challenger Deep.
Yeah, we're gonna
Elon.
Yeah, y'all, Elon,
You've
go
already
poke
tackled
around down
space.
there.
Yo,
Yeah.
Elon.
Yo,
Did you know that there's still some ground to be covered?
I'm gonna twat an X at Elon.
Every time I see X, it says the platform formerly known as Twitter.
It's so
Still,
fucking pathetic. I deleted mine.
Such great
I'm out.
branding. Yeah.
Mhm.
there's no reason to have it.
I haven't deleted mine yet, but I haven't logged on.
I need to figure out threads.
It's the same as Twitter.
It's basically the same as Twitter without like DMs or hashtags. It's
And they
Great.
like actually shut down like
It's
anti-Semitism and
I
racism.
love that.
better than-
pleasant, but
Yeah.
I could use a little more depth.
Well, you just
On
want to be
Threads.
viral and you're not going viral on Threads yet. You'll get
Yet.
there.
I need
You'll
to
get
tweet
there.
more about sports. Okay.
Retweet that mom tweet you tweeted.
What?
Rethread
just
that
you
the
bitching.
infamous mom tweet of you
Oh,
like just
being
complaining
tired.
about being alive, and then every mom on the planet identified with it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, resurface
You're
that bad
doing
boy.
great, Mama.
Yeah,
got this,
stake your
mama.
claim on Threads, mama. You can thread, mama.
Okay, I loved this part, and it's mostly because of the photo. Don't look at it yet. Okay. According to Ocean Today, there are underwater lakes and rivers.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I knew this. Like
The-
fresh water.
These form when. Okay, so I feel like these can. Yeah, okay. These form when seawater, which is the ocean aspect of this, seep up through thick layers of salt present beneath the sea floor or the floor of whatever. So when the salt water seeps up, it dissolves the salt layer, causing it to collapse and form depressions, forming a river or a lake of the salt water with the fresh water on top.
Yeah, and then they have like different like buoyancy or whatever. So and then obviously salination, so they can't blend.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just like
It's like a
float-
lava
it, like-
lamp,
yeah, it just
They
like
stay
sticks there.
separate.
That's fucking cool. I've heard about this.
Hmm. They can be as small as a few feet across or as large as a few miles long. So they're similar to lakes and rivers on land because they can have shorelines, surfaces, and waves.
Mm-hmm.
So
Underwater.
here's another way of putting it, and this is from Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Oh,
Believe it,
love.
baby. So the example that they used were like cenotes, so like in the Yucatan, which were allegedly formed from the meteor that killed the dinosaurs.
Cool.
I watched a clip about that last night. So the cenotes are big, like basically holes in the earth that fill with fresh rainwater, and then that over time they create like huge cave systems underground.
Mm.
So if there's like a big hole of fresh water and then the salt water comes up and seeps up from down below and gets in there, then it creates an underwater lake or river. So the underwater river is formed when the fresh top layer meets the exposed salty groundwater. The different density levels of the two waters cause them to layer, And the result is a breathtaking convergence of two habitats. Now, go to the drive, which will be on the blog. There's a photo.
Oh, I've seen this photo. It's so fucking cool. It just looks like a haunted forest, but that's all underwater.
But then look at the diver on the left.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking rad?
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's so cool, though.
I guess I don't understand where the fresh water comes in, because isn't the ocean water salt?
That's what I'm saying. It's not really like the ocean aspect is the salt seawater coming up from down below. It's leaking into fresh water. So the fresh water is on top and the salt water is down below.
Oh, so you're saying lakes can have mini oceans under them?
So what you're looking at here, is this a lake with salt water in the bottom, or is this an ocean with fresh water in the bottom?
This is a freshwater lake with salt water coming
Got
up
it,
from the
got it.
bottom.
Okay. I thought you were saying
I thought it could be the
in
opposite.
the ocean
Right.
there are pockets of fresh water.
Yeah, that's what I
it
thought you
could be
said.
this. It could work the other way around. I don't know why it
Okay.
couldn't.
Well,
Isn't that fucking cool?
either way, it's wild.
Yeah, I don't totally understand it.
Got it. Okay.
But the fact that there can be like waves and they operate like two distinct habitats.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's so cool. It is not uncommon to find skeletons underwater. Many divers have accidentally found John and Jane Doe skeletons. According to Smithsonian Magazine, a skeleton looted from an underwater cave on the Yucatan Peninsula in 2012.
They are also in the ocean. This says, we see mountains, valleys, hills, and holes, and the seafloor is just as diverse a landscape as land. But did you know that in certain places on the seafloor, like in the Gulf of Mexico, there are even underwater lakes and rivers? These lakes and rivers form when seawater seeps up through thick layers of salt, which are present beneath the seafloor. So I think the freshwater was already there, and the seawater seeps up, but then can't blend with the freshwater, so it like floats to the top, and then some of the freshwater could stay at the bottom.
It's not super clear what I've learned about, or it might be different levels of salinity also. It might be super
As the water
salty
seeps
crust
up-
water.
It dissolves the salt layer, causing it to collapse and form depressions. The dissolved salt makes the water denser, and because it's denser than the water around it, it will settle into the depressions, forming a river or lake. So I guess they are salt. They're like extremely salty, and that's why they're just like sitting at the bottom. I don't know. I don't have enough of a brain for this.
Yeah.
I didn't really
DM me.
either.
Not my
I no
area of
longer care.
expertise.
It's just really cool. I don't care. Don't at me. Bye.
Unless
Next.
you're Bill Nye. I would take all of the tips from Bill Nye.
Yep.
Okay, so in 2012, somebody found a skeleton in an underwater cave on the Yucatan Peninsula that was found later to be older than 13,000 years old,
Damn.
And they stole it.
making it one of the oldest known human remains on the continent.
Wow. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So that I would think that would be a freshwater cave, like what we were just talking about from one of the cenotes, because it would be dark and that would be kind of confined. So there would be not as much like life forms to maybe help decay the skeleton.
Sure.
And also it wouldn't be salt water. So I would think it would preserve it better.
But salt can preserve stuff. So if it's super salty water, maybe it preserved it.
Maybe it was
Like
in one of
pickled.
these lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't-
Weird.
Okay, so let's discuss lampreys
Yeah.
Oh
let's.
God. Okay. They have teeth.
with the mouth,
Right? God
the sucker
damn
mouth.
it. Yeah.
They are among the most primitive of all vertebrate species. They're a vertebrate. Eh? They are a parasitic fish native to the northern and western Atlantic Ocean. They look like eels, and their skeletons are made of cartilage, so they're squirmy, little snaky things.
Oh my God.
They breathe through a distinct row of 7 pairs of tiny gill openings located behind their mouth and eyes. And the worst part is they have disc-shaped suction cup mouths that are ringed all the way around with sharp teeth, which allow them to latch on to things.
They look like a really scary shower head.
Totally.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
They do look like a shower head. But fortunately, they all die after spawning. So their
Thank
one
God.
life goal is to just continue
they
to
fucking
exist.
suck and then they die.
They suck, all
What a
right.
life.
They drink blood.
They're like leeches.
Yeah, they drink blood and eat flesh.
Cool. They look like really scary eels.
Lampreys are described as primitive predators, aggressive flesh feeders, and piston-tongued parasites.
Yikes.
There's really
Also-
nothing redeeming about them.
Do you know something else that's nuts about the ocean? Speaking of eels, I saw this on TikTok. But
Is it
it's real,
goblin
'cause
sharks?
I looked it
'Cause I'm
up.
about to tell you about goblin sharks.
Oh God, it's not goblin sharks. But like basically every eel that we know in like Europe and America, whether it's freshwater or saltwater, can be traced to like the Bermuda Triangle in the Sargasso Sea. Like they all come from there. And it's like a huge
Really?
mystery how they have migrated
so far.
to these different places and these different continents. Fuck the ocean, dude.
Because you wouldn't think that they would stray that far away from like, you know.
And their reproduction is like really weird, I guess, and like really mysterious. I don't fucking know. Eels are fucked, y'all.
People
Eels
used
are
to eat
fucked.
them a lot. They used
Yeah.
to bake them in pies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I follow this guy on TikTok who has an eel pit in his basement. It's really gross.
Why?
What?
I'll find him. Eel pit guy.
I follow this guy on TikTok who has an eel pit in his basement. It's really gross.
Eel pit guy, TikTok. Found him.
Why?
Why
Pets?
not? Yeah.
Okay.
This-
Lamprey pie remained a delicacy in England until the early 19th
No,
century.
England.
Sometimes called politicians' pie because politicians are slippery. Get it?
I'm
And
obsessed with that.
bloodsuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Margaret Taylor, writing in this is all from Wikipedia, by the way. Writing in 1795, described a lamprey pie recipe, quote, clean, wash, and season them with sweet seasoning. Lay them in a coffin with citron and lemon sliced, butter, and close the pie.
Cool.
Here for it. Eel pit guy, his username is cow turtle, all one word.
Eel pit guy. What is your life?
My FYP is fucking chaotic. It makes
say.
no sense. It's like clips from Grey's Anatomy and Law and Order, eel pit guy, random comedians,
Social justice stuff.
social justice stuff, Starzy, Jasper the doll, lot of ADHD content. It's really shocking when the aliens discover my extensive online presence. Many millennia from now.
Yeah, right.
I promise
in
they
like 2
will be
weeks.
scratching their little heads.
They're here, baby.
You're right. They're
They're in the ocean.
They're here and they don't want anything to do with it.
They're in part of the 80% of the ocean that has been
91%.
Yeah.
That's just unclassified animals, life in the ocean.
Still.
Like, if
Yep.
aliens come, they'll probably just ignore land and just check out the oceans.
I would.
If you have the technology to get down there and like root around,
Yeah.
Yeah.
why not?
It's most
I
of
would.
the Earth's surface. I'd be like, fuck these land.
Yeah, there are no
Parasites.
people down there. It's a respite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for the backup info on lampreys.
Yeah.
Another freaky sea creature is the goblin shark, which can thrust its jaw 3 inches out of its mouth to catch prey. Not
thanks.
totally sure why the 3 inches is so evolutionarily crucial, but they look
Maybe-
disgusting.
They can, like, sit really still, and a fish will think that they're not there, and then they can just, like,
Yeah, maybe. So its jaw,
I don't like it.
its jaw is connected to 3-inch long flaps of skin that can unfold from its snout.
like eyelids, nose lids.
Oh, God.
But it's just like its mouth just kind of shoots out a little bit. At one point, they had been incorrectly classified as a totally separate species, so like not even a shark at all because of their jaws. And according to National Geographic, they usually live at the bottom of the ocean along a continent's edge. Because you know how
Have
there's like the
you
drop-offs?
Looked at these things?
Yeah, they
honey.
are so gross.
They look so...
I mean, it makes sense how they get their name.
They're called a living fossil.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, so they're very ancient
Yeah.
creatures?
They're just they're very like,
Disgusting,
what's the
terrifying,
word? Like prototype.
horrific.
They're like the shadow world version of a river dolphin.
Oh, yeah,
They're
kind of.
like a beta version of a shark.
We'll get to the sharks in my case.
Yes.
Great.
Goblin sharks can grow up to 12 feet long.
Why?
Fucking
it's
yikes.
just not necessary.
They are mostly spotted off the coast of Japan, and they are named for their similarities to the mythical goblins in Japanese folklore. They
Cool.
have unusual coloration ranging from pinkish to purplish gray with bright blue around the edges of their fins.
Their eyes are like kind of human, and I'm
Yeah.
putting a photo
They like
on the drive.
emote.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfy.
They're really nasty looking.
Oh no. See? I'm not going fucking near the ocean.
No.
No.
I mean,
God,
these are
God
these stay
made
deep.
swimming pools.
God made swimming pools.
I bet they don't have these in the Indian Ocean.
God
What?
created cocktail pools for a reason.
Yeah.
It's so true. You can see all the way to the bottom. It's been fully explored.
It's in the shape of lips. There's no
Yep.
Kind of
lampreys
bounce
in
around,
there.
Hold
I
your
want a
cocktail
lip-shaped
aloft.
cocktail pool. That's
Wasn't
so
Kenyon
cute.
gonna put in a lip-shaped cocktail pool in your yard?
We were thinking about putting in a cocktail pool, but then
I don't think it was ever going to be lip.
Did I just
shaped.
imagine that it was lip-shaped?
I think you tried to push
Push that.
And I was like,
Shockingly,
yeah.
I didn't
Or
try to push that.
rectangular.
Yeah, or just a square like a normal person.
But then we got quotes for the cost. It was like exorbitant. So obviously
I
did
can
not do
imagine.
that.
Plus, cleaning it, you basically have to hire someone to come clean it regularly.
It's
A pool nanny.
You're not going to do it yourself.
Sadly, not in my budget
Lifestyle.
at the time.
Your budget.
Sadly, tragically.
I think
Really,
one of those
really
little
tough.
blow up pools.
They have that.
Yeah.
And it's so cute. Sonia loves it.
It's a cocktail pool.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Anyway, that is my background and absolutely no psych for Maritime Murders.
Fabulous.
So good.
Here
I
for
love
the
it.
lampreys. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm glad that we ended on sharks because it's very apropos for my case. All right. This case is very well known in Australia.
Oh, down under.
But I hadn't really heard the details of it, so I hope you guys don't know it. In April 1935, Bert Hobson and his teenage son Ron were fishing just a few kilometers off the coast of Coogee Beach in Sydney, Australia. No idea if I'm saying that right.
Okay.
When Ron felt a tug on his line.
Oh, no.
Well, presumably more than just a tug because he'd actually caught a tiger shark.
I love
Log.
tiger sharks.
They are beautiful. Oh, no.
They were, it sounds like, fishing for a tiger shark. So this
Oh.
was intentional.
Okay, so
okay.
they're thrilled. They
Yeah.
wanted this.
Yep.
Thrilled
So
to the gills.
the shark measured 14 feet in length
Yikes.
and weighed about 1 ton.
Ooh.
She was
What?
big.
She thick.
She
It's the size of my office. The length of my office.
big.
She sounds enormous. A ton?
Ma-
She weighed 1 ton.
1 ton. Man, this is a
God.
big old shark.
Yeah.
Was she full of babies?
I don't know if it's a she, actually. I just was
Oh, okay.
making that up.
Canonically, she's a she.
Yeah. So Coogee Beach was home
I'm
to...
claiming her.
Yeah. Yeah. Spiritually, she's a she. Coogee Beach was home to a popular aquarium at the time, and its owner, Bert, the dad, so it's a dad
Shark
and his
fisherman.
son, shark fisherman Bert, thought it would be great business to put a tiger shark on display in their pool. And so they were out to like find one,
Oh, no.
Keep it alive.
That's fucked
keep
up.
it alive, and put it in their aquarium.
Take it
pool.
out of fucking freedom into
That's
aquarium captivity.
Kidnapping.
It's 1935.
to be gawked at.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 1935.
Yeah.
It's also a pretty small pool. I think it's like 25 feet by 15 feet.
That's barely bigger than her.
God.
Yeah, it's 1935.
Ugh.
So in 1935, like today, shark attacks aroused great public interest as well as tourist dollars. This was going to be a big drive.
I'm aroused.
And so the live tiger shark was transferred to the Coogee Beach Aquarium baths.
Okay.
And it was good timing because before the arrival of this new attraction, the aquarium hadn't been doing too well financially. The nearby pier that had been, like a place where people would stroll and
A little
play
attraction.
games and whatever, had just been demolished. I think it was going to be rebuilt, but at the time it was just gone. And so foot traffic to the area had seriously declined. That means people going to the aquarium had declined.
This was their last hope. They had to save the zoo.
had to save the zoo.
Their great
basically.
white hope. Their great tiger hope.
Yep. So now there's this giant shark swimming around in this tiny pool, and boy, did people want to see it.
Oh, dear. Okay.
But within a week of its capture, the shark started to act strange.
I wonder
because it can't
why.
turn around.
Because it was actually just a dog in a shark costume.
It was a human
It
in a
was
sun bear
Ron.
costume and a
I
shark.
knew it. I knew it.
I didn't know
That
sharks had to
saggy
come
butt.
up for air every 30 seconds.
Yeah. And had a tail that wagged.
and barked.
No, on April 25th, Anzac Day, which I don't recall the specifics of, but is a big deal there.
Sounds like a medication.
It really does.
Big day over there. Don't know why. Something I think to do with World War I. I could be wrong.
Probably.
Cool.
The tourist crowds are at their peak. Everybody's heard about this shark. It's their big holiday off. Everybody's at the aquarium.
They're all aroused.
all wildly
Rock hard.
aroused.
Yeah.
Rock hard.
Rock hard for this shark. They have never wanted to fuck a shark so bad.
The lines were long.
Around the Sydney was a buzz.
So, but the shark's acting weird in the pool, right? And then
She's really standoffish and cold. She's such a prude.
She's probably nervous.
she took a turn for the worse.
Uh-oh.
The shark
Oh, I hope
lost
she ate someone.
the shark lost its energy and appetite. It began swimming around sluggishly and bumping into the pool walls.
Yeah.
Free Willy.
Then it thrashed around violently before vomiting in front of a small crowd of tourists.
Oh, she had a tummy ache. What did she puke?
She had a tummy ache.
Sharks vomiting.
Yep. One onlooker recalled, quote, the frightful stench around the shark and its scum floating to the top of the foamy water. Quote, I was 3 or 4 meters from the shark and clearly saw come out of its mouth a copious brown froth, which smelled really foul.
How could they smell it from under the water?
No,
Well, she's just in a little pool.
it was floating up. The barf floated up to the surface of the pool and then it reeked.
Yeah, they're looking down at her. What?
Yeah. In a They weren't just gawking at a run-of-the-mill tiger shark vomit.
Your classic shark barf. This was a brand new shark barf.
Atypical.
The captive shark had just coughed up a bird, a rat, a load of muck,
A rat.
and a human arm.
Oh, go off, queen. Yes, 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 yes. A bird, a rat, some muck, a human arm, a bird, a rat, some muck,
A
a
human arm.
human arm. Get it, girl? I always feel better when I barf it up after I overeat.
Right?
30
She just went-
burgers, 30 fries, 30 human arms.
To be precise, it was a human left arm and hand with
Oh.
a piece of rope tied around the wrist, which floated to the surface of the pool.
Cool.
Now, shark attacks weren't uncommon in the area at the time. There had actually been a little bit of a spree lately. But no recent ones had been reported involving a tiger shark of that size.
Or like unreported, maybe?
Yeah, they couldn't like connect anyone
This
who had like
missing arm to
Yes.
any report of a shark attack.
right.
Where'd the shark get a rat?
Rats can swim.
I don't know. Probably someone dumped some trash in the ocean. I don't know.
She could also, I mean, this like kind of
Maybe the bird was eating a rat.
a rat,
Mm.
or the bird and the rat could have gotten into the tank in
True.
this kind
Yeah,
of like
could have been
shady
after. Could have
zoo.
been after.
Yeah,
So, just 3 days after the tiger shark regurgitated the arm, the aquarium owners killed and gutted it, which I think was like
No.
standard practice for any time a shark ate a human.
Whatever.
Oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's gonna get even more unfair in 1 second.
This is bull shark.
Yeah.
So they kill and gutted it, which revealed the fact that before it was captured, the tiger shark had actually eaten another smaller shark.
Nice.
And it was that shark that had originally swallowed the human arm.
Framed.
This is
Framed.
framed. Justice for Tiger.
Yes.
This is fucking bullshit. So she Russian nesting dolls
A shark.
herself into certain death.
Oh, I'm mad.
Oh my god, I can't believe she got set up like this. Fucking
Unbelievable.
bullshit.
This is
Her
bullshit.
only crime was literally biting off a little more than she could chew.
Surviving, eating
Yeah.
a smaller shark. Big deal. She's
Getting
a
caught.
big bitch. She's 14, but she's a ton.
Mm-hmm.
God bless her.
Well, it's going to get even more unfair.
Great.
No!
Cancel Kenyon.
Why
Just
did
kidding.
you do
I wanna
this
know.
to her?
I need to know.
I need to know what that shark barfed.
But then a forensic examination of the arm revealed that it had not been bitten
That
off
the
by
arm
a
had
shark
eaten
at
another
all.
arm. What?
Wait, It had been fed to the shark?
No. Instead, it was cut off with a knife.
Luck. Okay.
Pieces. Disposing of the
Yup,
body.
there's been a murder.
A revelation that immediately prompted the launch of a murder investigation.
Hell
Murder of
yes.
the tiger shark.
Yeah, seriously. That case is
2
solved.
murders.
Wow.
Double homicide.
Police did have one clue to go off
Nesting
of
homicide.
in terms of identifying the victim. There was a distinctive tattoo on the forearm depicting 2 boxers fighting, and yes, there is a photo on the drive.
Thank
God. Honestly, I'm telling you, this is a great reason to get tattoos. When they find my arm regurgitated by a shark, they're gonna fucking know who it belonged to.
Do you see?
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, you can like really see the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mystery caused a sensation in the press, and it didn't take long for an article about the case to come to the attention of a man named Edwin Smith. Edwin thought the tattoo sounded a lot like that of his brother Jim. Jim had been missing since April 7th.
Oh,
Yep.
shit.
Sure does sound like that.
Edwin immediately contacted the police, and he, along with Jim's wife Gladys, soon identified the body part.
Oh,
Oh,
my God.
Police were able to get fingerprints off the hand,
Yes.
Hell fucking yeah.
conclusively identifying the arm as belonging to James Jim Smith.
All right, Jim Smith.
Oh.
What happened to you, bud?
So Smith was a former boxer and petty criminal.
Luck.
He was originally born in England in 1890. His surviving family were sad, of course, to learn of his probable passing and definite arm losing.
Regurgitation. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they weren't too shocked that he'd met this kind
He
of
was
fate.
a scallywag.
Okay, yeah, he'd gotten into some. He had a pattern. He had a history.
He got into some scrapes. So all of Jim's jobs and activities were shady and dangerous. He'd worked as a billiards bar manager with a clientele made up pretty much exclusively of fellow criminals.
Love it.
He
Love
was
a bartender.
He was a bookie. He was
Love a bookie.
a con artist.
Love a con artist. I've dated a couple.
You have.
He sounds
I
like
have
your
a type.
type.
Honestly, this tattoo is really cute.
He was a SoundCloud DJ.
I'm like, wait.
Wait.
I know this guy.
I've lain with this man.
I know what this man's dick looks like.
I know what this man tastes like.
And perhaps most dangerously of all, a police informant.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jim.
that's dangerous, bud.
oh,
So,
Jim.
given Jim Smith's
Oh, Jim.
various lines of work, the net of potential suspects was cast pretty wide because it
Yeah.
could be fellow criminals, people he'd double crossed, maybe people he'd snitched on.
Yes.
Imagine getting murdered and being like, wow, hundreds of people could have done this. Like, everyone
Could've been
wanted
anyone.
you dead. Yeah.
It is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Could be victims of one of his scams.
Could have been a tiger shark.
Yeah.
A lot of motive out there.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you even begin?
I don't know.
Well, on April 7th, the day that Jim went missing, he had told his wife Gladys that he was going fishing. But really, he was last seen drinking and playing cards with a man named Patrick Francis Brady at the Cecil Hotel.
No fucking way. In
No.
LA?
No, different.
Okay, I was like, does this happen in Australia?
It's in Sydney, Australia, but it's called the Cecil Hotel.
I like that.
Cursed name.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't trust it.
Also, don't lie to your wife because you could go missing.
Yeah, you hear that, Bill?
Yeah.
Don't lie to your wife,
So he's
wherever she might be.
He's playing cards and drinking with this guy, Patty Brady. So Patty was a forger and an ex-con, and Smith worked with him on his various jobs.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent of which involved boats, check fraud, and an insurance scam.
Boats and hoes.
God, there were so many parties like that in college. Okay.
Yeah, and in high school.
mhm,
Because we went to Minnetonka.
mhm.
They just weren't called that yet because that movie hadn't come out.
What movie?
Step Brothers. Boats and hoes.
Oh, I thought that was like just a general cultural thing.
I mean,
It was
sure
for
it
us.
is. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. There's one more name for you to keep track of. So we have Jim Smith, the dead guy. We have Patty Brady, the guy he was last seen with drinking. And now we have this guy. It's a mouthful. Reginald William Lloyd Holmes.
I love this name.
Reggie
Yeah.
Holmes.
Reggie Holmes.
Reginald, please.
I prefer the Indian Ocean.
But only in the
Reginald, please.
But only in the spring.
You are a type today, and I'm here for it.
Reginald, please.
So Holmes's family had a successful boat building business. Some even called them Sydney Harbor royalty. And he was its manager. So Reginald had some money. He wasn't satisfied, though, simply keeping the family business afloat.
Afloat. Ah, knew it.
He was involved in some shady business dealings, some smuggling, and by some accounts, he was basically like a crime kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1934, the year before, Holmes had connected with Jim Smith, and together they worked on a scam in which he overinsured a pleasure cruiser named Pathfinder that the boat building business owned. And then they sunk it together near Terrigal, which I don't know what that is, an hour north of Sydney. So basically,
Boats and fraud.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really hard to prove how a boat sank in
Yeah.
1934.
Remember my
There are
drunk
theories
dive with the Bluebell had to do a
Yeah.
lot to do with boat sinking fraud too.
Yeah.
There are theories that the Titanic sunk in a sinking fraud scheme.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, we should do a Titanic
I think that was
Crimes
just
episode.
Probably-
hubris.
Probably
I mean,
hard
I've-
to get the iceberg in on it.
Yeah. A little tough.
Paid off. In cold hard cash.
So this scheme worked like a dream, and then the pair continued
Dream scheme.
with more insurance scams. And then they started a check cashing fraud where Holmes would provide the names and sample signatures from like clients and vendors involved in the boat building business, because he would see a lot of people's signatures. And then Patty Brady, the forger guy,
Right.
would forge
their
checks
signatures,
in the names of for small amounts of money against their bank accounts, hoping that
So they
these
wouldn't
people
really
wouldn't
notice.
notice.
Yeah. See, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
This is the way to do it.
And finally, Smith was the one to cash the checks, so it was just this tidy little ring of crime. But according to the police's working theory, Jim Smith must have gotten greedy and maybe started blackmailing Holmes, did something to piss off Holmes. Backed into a corner, Holmes then enlisted Brady's help to take care of
Business.
old Jimmy boy.
Mm-hmm.
And besides just being the last person seen with him on the day of his disappearance, there was still more evidence implicating Brady. He owned a cottage nearby where Smith was last seen, and
Guilty.
And investigators believe that this was likely the scene of the murder, although without the help of modern forensics or luminol, they couldn't prove that.
Was he
Sure.
blonde?
Never trust a blonde man.
Mm-mm.
There are photos of these guys on the drive if you want to see each of them.
Reggie looks like a Reggie.
I think he looks like a Reginald.
I like how far apart Jim's teeth are.
Yeah.
Oh, he has no problems flossing.
Yeah, he's not cute.
Reggie's fucking hot.
Yeah.
Dude. Reggie's a daddy. Look at that butt chin.
He is a daddy.
He does have some like Mitt Romney vibes.
Yeah.
Like a young Mitt Romney.
You know what I like. Okay, Reggie. Whatever you say.
Reginald, please.
Reginald, please. No, you know I like to call you Reg.
So, without a full body, in fact, it wasn't clear whether investigators would be able to prove much of anything. Still, on May 16th, Patty Brady was arrested and charged with Smith's murder, and the trial began right away. At trial, Reginald was formally implicated in the case when a cab driver testified that he had taken Brady from his cottage and the suspected murder scene to Holmes's address on the day that Smith went missing. So he's connecting these two guys on that day.
That's pretty sus.
The driver also said that Brady had been, quote, disheveled. He had a hand in his pocket and wouldn't take it out. It was
Whose hand? Jim's?
well, actually, we'll get to it.
Oh, God. I got Jim's hand in my pocket.
And I'm gonna go throw it in the ocean.
And I'm going to go feed it to a tiger shark.
So at first, Holmes tried to deny his association with Brady altogether. He was like, I don't know this man. But just 4 days into the trial, on May 20th, Holmes went into his boat shed and attempted suicide by shooting himself in the head.
Oh.
Ooh, uh-oh. Attempted.
Patty
So he
did?
didn't succeed?
Reginald did.
Oh, Reginald.
This act didn't have its intended effect, though.
Okay.
I think he may have missed and just like gave himself a flesh wound. Unclear. But reports say that he was merely, quote, stunned and fell into nearby water.
Okay, that's fucking lucky. Unless something bad happened in the
Nearby water, tiger shark.
Oh, her sister is back to avenge her sister's death.
Amazing if he was then eaten by a shark who was then
Holy
eaten by another
shit.
shark.
It is Australia.
And then that shark was eaten by the 1 pound tiger shark who was fully framed.
So, the water actually revived him, and so he like fainted or whatever.
Sure.
Hit the water, woke back up, and then crawled into a nearby speedboat and sped off.
Oh.
Which I think it must have been his boat because it was in his boat shed.
Okay.
Oh.
But like, where are you going?
Yeah. So police must have already been tailing him because he was soon being chased by 2 police boats.
Oh my God. This is very like
Capery.
very capery like James Bond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but stupid.
Plus sharks.
So
He
stupid.
led them on a high-speed boat chase,
My God.
like as fast as boats could go in 1935.
My
Such
God.
a fucking drama king.
Yeah.
For 4 hours.
Jesus.
Oh, for God's sake.
They just had to run him out of gas and then wait.
Or they run out of gas and he totally
Right.
gets away.
So then he is caught, arrested, and taken to the hospital so they can look at his self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Head wound. Jesus.
So, he's starting to look
Sus.
pretty guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Investigators start to lean on Holmes, and by early June, he decides to work with them and points the finger at Brady. He claims that Brady came to his house, I'm assuming by cab, given the cab driver's testimony, confessed to murdering Jim Smith, cutting up the body and putting the pieces into a steamer trunk, and then throwing the trunk into Gunnamatta Bay.
Okay.
But according to Holmes, Brady had not thrown out one part.
The arm.
I guess to use as proof or as an intimidation tactic, he'd produced Smith's severed left arm and then threatened to also murder Holmes if he didn't cough up 500 pounds.
My poor shark friend.
I know. How quickly
Leave her
I learned to
alone.
But he
love
really
that
was
shark.
in that cab with the arm.
Knew it. Knew it. Whose arm?
Arms are heavy.
Mhm.
Especially like
Yeah.
a grown boxer man's arm.
Yeah.
Dang.
So Holmes said that he was terrified after Brady left and decided to drive to the nearby suburb of Maruba and throw the arm into the sea. So that's where the smaller shark ate it, and then the larger shark ate that shark, and then it got caught.
wow.
It's actually pretty amazing that the arm was regurgitated in such great condition, considering
Yeah.
2 sharks ate it, essentially.
Yeah, and several weeks had gone by.
Yeah, that's wild.
You gotta chew your food.
Listen, sharks,
That's crazy.
chew your food.
So whether or not Holmes's version of events was true, he'd still turned state's witness against a known criminal and a probable murderer. So now he had reasons to be looking over his shoulder. And he started making his wife walk him to the door of his car anytime he had to go anywhere.
Thanks,
Oh my
Mike.
God. Kill her, not me.
Yeah. Take my
Right.
wife, please.
Oh, and remember
Oh
the
my
500-pound extortion threat? If you don't
Yes.
give me 500 pounds, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Well, on June 11th, Holmes took out 500 pounds from his bank account after telling his wife he was, quote, going to meet someone.
Okay, cool
Ew.
story, guy. Couldn't come up with anything better than that.
The next morning, Reginald William Lloyd Holmes was found dead in his car on the side of the road. He had been shot 3 times at close range.
R.I.P. Reggie, you were kind of a dick.
He got
To
shot in the head twice.
Mm-hmm.
To untrained eyes, the scene would have appeared to be a suicide, and he did have a history of attempted suicide.
Mm.
But police were convinced that Holmes had been murdered.
Mm-hmm.
One other interesting theory is that Holmes might have hired hitmen to kill him. Like, he might have died by suicide via hitmen.
That's why they missed.
Oh.
Well, the first
No, the
time I
second
think he
time.
did it himself, but the second time,
Oh, okay.
he would have done this so that his family could still get the life insurance money, kind of like a murders.
Sure.
Is this
Okay.
the plot line of Bulworth?
I don't know.
Like he hires someone to kill him.
So he'd recently taken out a big life insurance policy on himself that would not be honored if he died by suicide. So, but would be if he was murdered. So police, whatever, they think he's been murdered, and they especially think that because he was actually due to testify against Brady at the coronial inquest that morning.
Okay.
Oh my
that's-
God.
That's telling.
So Holmes's death made it that much harder to convict Brady because he was like the
Your one connection.
witness.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the cab driver who just said, like, this guy looked disheveled and nervous.
And had an arm in his briefcase, maybe. Something was off.
And Brady's defense attorney, barrister Clive Evatt, was no slouch. He argued that an arm, quote, did not constitute a body.
Yeah, no body, no crime,
Oh
bitch.
my, okay.
And that Jim Smith could still be alive somewhere, just sans left arm.
Yeah, show me the rest of the pieces of him,
Ooh.
and then we'll
You
come
live
back to
without
court.
an arm.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Of course it did.
Stop.
Power of a good lawyer.
I mean, there wasn't
Oh.
a ton of physical evidence to begin with, and really it was
Sure.
kind of a miracle there was ever any physical evidence in this case because, as the coroner put it in 1935, quote, it was 1,000,000 to 1 chance that this one shark in all the sea should have been caught and placed in an aquarium.
Yeah,
And then
that's
it
wild.
barfed up an arm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances?
That's
Right.
cool.
Plus, the prosecution's star witness had died just hours before he was supposed to testify. Whoops.
Yeah, I think we know exactly what happened. We just didn't have the actual evidence to convict, so they had to call it off.
Well, it was pretty much Holmes's word against Brady's. I think they were both involved, but
right.
yeah.
That's
So
wild.
ultimately, Patrick Francis Brady was acquitted of the murder of Jim Smith. And for the next 30 years, he maintained his innocence and died in Sydney on April 18th, 1965, at the age of 76.
Wow.
To this day,
He
Jim
was eaten
Smith's
by a
death.
shark.
That'd be
Eaten by a
amazing.
shark.
Jim Smith's death is known colloquially as the shark arm case, and it remains
Okay.
unsolved officially.
Wow.
Some even posit that Brady killed Smith, but the murder had nothing to do with Reginald, and rather he did it on the orders of a local gangster who found out Smith was a police informant.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it could have been Smith died for a totally different reason, and then just the fact that Reginald kind of got looped in and then was prepared to testify.
Yeah.
was just bummer icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Too many witnesses have been offed, including 2 sharks.
Yeah. Innocent babies.
Sharks.
Yeah. And that is
Wow.
the shark arm case.
I
That's-
love that.
That's incredible. I love that case so much.
It's a good one.
Reginald, please.
Reginald.
Please. Put some respect on his name. He's a
Holy
real
shit.
kingpin.
My little mitt daddy.
Mitt Daddy.
Well done.
Nice job.
All right, y'all. This case has everything. Boats, meth, murder, Billy Idol.
Lampreys.
No lampreys, so I guess it doesn't have everything.
We'll add him in.
Okay.
All right. So let's get into it. Late October 14th / early morning, October 15th, 2019. It's a gorgeous fall night in Dana Point, California. And Sheila Marie Ritzy had a 24-foot fishing boat docked at Dana Point. And on that windless 70-degree night, just sounds absolutely fucking gorgeous, under a full fucking moon,
Oh my God.
took the Sea Koenig, that's her boat, out with 2 passengers aboard, Huang Li and Tai Min Dao. Long after the other fishing boats in the area had already returned to shore, so it's literally like midnight. They're the only ones out there.
Okay.
It was almost midnight, and the vessel was nearly 3 miles from shore. I wonder if that's intentional, given what we know now about the maritime law thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. When folks on land heard the distant sound of gunshots over the bay, the vessel...
Is Sheila a lady?
Yes.
Are the other 2 ladies?
No.
Okay.
The vessel returned to shore, and 3 days later, Tai Min Dao was discovered by fishermen in Oceanside, which is barely a mile south of Dana Point. So he had just drifted a little bit downshore.
Okay.
And he was found dead in the water. A medical examiner determined that Dao's cause of death was drowning, and that he also had gunshot wounds, or at least 1 gunshot wound, and blunt force trauma as factors. in his death.
Jeez.
Okay.
Trio.
Yep. So let's back up and figure out how these folks are even connected to each other and ended up on this boat.
Yeah.
So Huang Li is the son of Vietnamese immigrants who came to California, where he attended Cal State, and he graduated in 2004, but his life seemed to spiral pretty out of control shortly thereafter when he established himself as like a pretty big time drug dealer in California. And he became simultaneously addicted to alcohol, methamphetamine, and cocaine.
That's tough.
Another
rough
trio.
Yep. His deals took him back and forth from Las Vegas to where he was living in California pretty regularly. Through dealing drugs, he met Ty Mindau and Ty's little brother, Alex. Allegedly, Alex ran an underground, and I say allegedly, even though we know this is true, but
Wasn't ever convicted of it, so okay.
Well, and we'll tell you why. So, ran an underground gambling house in Irvine, California, and he kept himself out of jail by turning informant to the FBI. So basically, they're not going to bust his gambling house if he gives
gets all the
intel,
info.
yep, on the people who frequent the spot.
Got it.
So when Alex's brother Ty went missing on October 14th, because again, he wasn't found for 3 days and they were in close contact with each other. So he probably didn't hear from him on the 15th and then was like, where the fuck are you? And then he doesn't hear from him again on the 16th. I don't know if he reported him missing, but he knew he was missing and then he was found. Wang Li was immediately concerned that Alex would pull his FBI connections on this case, which he totes did. So now this is like a federal investigation into...
So Wong knew that Alex had FBI connections.
Correct, because Huang and Tai were like
BFFs.
pretty close friends.
Got it.
Like really close and like knew each other's families and
Okay.
so like
So
dude
maybe
knew.
Ty was like, you know, don't say any shit at this gambling house.
Right, I think they had some agreements. And at this point, I think Wang Li's drug trafficking and stuff was like, it was fairly big time, but he wasn't out like, he wasn't like fighting with other, gangs or like drug dealers or there wasn't like bloodshed.
He wasn't like your local neighborhood dealer, but he wasn't a huge
priority for the FBI, I guess I would say.
He wasn't the one who knocks.
Precisely. We need to cook. So Sheila met Wong through similar circumstances. Though an adult when they met, she had been a teenage runaway and had a history with substance abuse, multiple arrests on her record for meth, cocaine, and marijuana trafficking, burglary, and sex work.
How does this bitch have a big ass boat in Dana Point, California?
So she had gotten and she had gotten married and lived a pretty kind of quiet life with her now ex-husband.
Okay.
They'd had a child. I think she
had a past.
She had a past. She seemed to have like recovered from that past. But then when she and her husband got divorced, it sounds like things went really downhill. But then she already had, I think maybe she got the boat in the divorce or something. Okay. I'm not 100% sure. But then she kind of falls in with Wang Li and is kind of up to some of her previous behaviors.
Got it.
So, quote, she met Lee in early 2019 when she was in the midst of what prosecutors described in their sentencing memorandum as a downward spiral that included her divorce, a drunken car crash, and an altercation with employees at a Burger King drive-thru that ended with Ritzy charging into the restaurant and threatening to bomb it.
Oh, no.
To vomit?
Fucking no, bomb.
Sheila Marie, no.
Sheila Marie threatening to vomit, and then an arm came out of her, and then another shark. It was crazy.
And then another shark.
Fucking yikes. So post-divorce Sheila is a mess. She falls in with Huang Li. They become pretty fast friends. And it wasn't unusual for them to go fishing together, especially lobster fishing. And there's like a photo on the drive of Huang Li with a lobster. And that was taken on her boat. Like they were buddies. They definitely did drugs together. She probably bought drugs from him.
Right.
But like they hung out. There was some speculation that they were involved with each other sexually, but nobody ever confirmed that. And we don't know.
Okay.
And it's not really relevant, but it's possible. So not long before Tai Dao's murder, Lee and Ritzy traveled to Las Vegas with Dao, as well as Lee's friend and fellow drug dealer, a man named Sean Whalen, to attend a Billy Idol concert.
Oh my God.
Like you do.
Yeah.
But this ended up being a key weekend for prosecutors to try to prove that Lee and Ritzy conspired to murder Tai Mindau. It was during that weekend, prosecutors allege, that Lee and Ritzy hatched their plan to kill Dow, with Whalen testifying that Lee told him of the murder plot during that trip. And she and like Sheila and Lee were not shy about this. It sounds like they really ran their mouths.
Yeah.
So Sheila's former mother-in-law, Sandra Ritzy, and Sheila had stayed, I guess, like super BFFs even after
she became such a hot mess.
she became estranged from Sandra's son, Sheila's ex-husband. And they stayed friends. So Sandra was also on this Vegas trip to go see Billy Idol.
Oh my God.
And
so weird.
It's super
so
weird.
messy.
This relationship is
Everybody
so
take
weird.
a nap.
Yeah, it takes several seats. So Sandra, we got Sandra, Pamela, Sandra, and Rita. I don't know. Sandra had been on the Vegas trip, and she testified in court that when she asked Sheila, like, who Dow was, they all met up in the lobby at some, like, casino hotel to go see Billy Idol together. And here's this guy, Timon Dow, and Sandra's like, who's this guy? And apparently Sheila responded, don't worry about it. We're going to be offing him this weekend.
Oh my God. Calm
Can you
down.
imagine?
That's what I'm going to be saying from now on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're going to be offing him
Don't
this
worry.
weekend.
This is not going to make it through the weekend.
It's
Don't
not
need to remember his
worth
name.
you learning his name.
Precisely.
The less
So
you
that-
know, the better.
It's actually
But I'm
safer for
about
you
to
not
tell
to
you.
know. But I am going to murder him this weekend.
So you know, I'm really happy that you're here.
I'm super happy that you're here. So the drug dealer friend of Huang Li, the guy Sean Whalen, denies that this exchange happened. He was like, Sandra wasn't even in the lobby. She met us at, Caesar's Palace or wherever the fuck the concert was. So this exchange couldn't have happened. But he also said in court that, I'll get to this next. He's like, Sheila's probably saying this because she isn't seeing her granddaughter as much as she was when Sheila and her son were together. And that was their kid together. And she wanted to maybe protect her granddaughter because Sheila was using again. And so Sean is trying to say Sandra's full of shit. She's just trying to fucking put Sheila away. But he also said in court
so that her own son could get custody.
Could get either more custody. I think he already had at least 50-50 custody.
Got it.
But it seemed like maybe Sandra had an ulterior motive for saying, oh yeah, Sheila told me that she was going to kill this guy. But at the same time, Sean also said in court that Lee, his friend, had talked to him about the murder plot. Quote, Sean Whalen also testified that the defendant told him he planned to, quote, take out the victim. Lee also asked Whalen to help him kill Dow, but Whalen refused. So I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on here.
What?
Everything I've read, like I said, says that Sandra and Sheila remained really good friends after the divorce. So it seems weird for her to suddenly turn on Sheila and lie. But that is a truly ballsy quote if Sheila really did say, don't worry about this guy, I'm going to kill him next weekend. But also, if Sheila had said that to Sandra, it's weird that they would then all go to the Billy Idol concert and they were posting videos of themselves laughing, singing, hugging, and hanging out. If when we were on my bachelorette weekend in Vegas, we were getting ready to go to Chris Angel, and you were like, who's this friend that we haven't met yet? And I was like, don't worry about it. I'm murdering them next weekend. Would we then post a bunch of really fun, happy
maybe
selfies?
Because you want plausible deniability. You want...
Maybe.
You want to be like, no, we're friends. Look how much fun we were just having.
It's just such a weird exchange. I don't doubt for 1 minute.
Also, nothing could keep you from posting about a really fun weekend.
Of course not. I don't doubt for 1 minute that either of these suspects were running their mouth about this because multiple people said that they were. What confuses me is why Sean even gives a shit whether or not he denies that Sandra and Sheila had this conversation in the lobby when Huang Li also had this conversation with him separately. What's the point of that? It's just fucking weird. I don't know.
What's the whole motive? Why do they?
We're getting to it.
Okay.
We're getting to it. And, just as we've been saying, this whole ex-mother-in-law, daughter-in-law friendship feels really gross and weird to me, but I do think it's completely legit. that Sheila and Huang were both running their mouths about this plan. That seems to track.
Okay.
So a week after the concert, Sheila, Huang, and Tai go out fishing. They go out lobster fishing. Sheila's done this a million times. You know, Huang is like, she's the lobster whisperer. Like, she always knows where the best stuff is.
Is this that night or is this during the day?
No, this is that night,
okay.
the night of the murder. According to Huang, Tai had owed him some money from either a previous drug deal or sale or some other arrangement, but had fallen on hard times and not only wouldn't pay him back, but asked him that night on the boat for an additional $2,000 in loaned funds.
Maybe you shouldn't have gone to Vegas.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought he would win it back.
Maybe he thought so. Huang refused to give him more money and was like, fuck you, you still owe me money from this other thing, which angered Tai. Again, this is all according to Huang's testimony, which angered Tai, and Tai pulled a gun from his waistband.
Convenient.
Mm-hmm. Huang claims that Tai pressed the gun against his stomach and Huang wrestled it out of his hand. He claimed that during the struggle, a shot went off, hitting no one, but the struggle continued and a second shot fired, this time hitting Tai Dao.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the opportunity to defend himself when Tai had been hit, and so he was distracted, Huang claims he then hit Tai over the head with a broomstick and pushed him overboard in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
He claimed Tai was continuing to scream that he was going to kill Huang even after he had hit the water, so Sheila and Tai sped away to safety.
Yeah, we were scared of this unarmed man alone
with a gunshot
in the
wound
ocean at night with a
in
gunshot
the pitch
wound.
darkness.
So we couldn't get him back on the boat. We were scared of him. We had to speed away.
Yeah.
Correct.
Allegedly one of the guy's best friends, too.
Yep.
Amazing.
He said, quote, I was scared, so I told Sheila, let's go, let's get away from this area. Folks are obviously calling bullshit on this and felt confident that this killing was premeditated. There are a million holes in this story that he's telling. One literal hole being the gunshot wound
Make that joke. I was like, well, there are two holes.
Yeah. In that Tai Dao sustained, the wound that the shot that actually hit him was in his back.
Oh.
Which was not consistent with the grapple and accidental shooting story.
Absolutely not. This dude
Quote,
was murdered. I'm so sorry.
Exactly. Quote, you might begin and end your analysis of self-defense with that fact, said Attorney General Gregory Scally, which I think is an adorable name.
Scally Greg.
If James Dow shot himself, he's quite the contortionist. Mm-hmm. So this is the guy who said this in court. Second hole, Lee could not account for what he and Sheila did right after going back to shore.
Ate a bunch of lobster.
Oh, I wish. That would have been the better.
She really
They certainly
was
didn't
a
go to the
lobster
police.
whisperer.
Mm-hmm. Turns out they placed a GPS tracking device on the vehicle of a woman named Natalie Wynn, who was the girlfriend of the deceased. They had intended to track and essentially stalk her in the hopes of stealing whatever life insurance money would come from Ty's untimely death.
What?
And there were receipts. Not only did the FBI find the GPS tracking device and confiscate it, they also found text messages from Lee to Natalie Wynn and other people inquiring about and discussing a life insurance policy for Ty.
Don't text
Yo, I know.
anything incriminating.
Call, don't text. And I will not answer because I hate talking on the phone. But at least you won't be sending me a, hey, what's your life insurance policy situation? And also, do you want to go fishing next weekend?
At night.
Like, these are the dumbest criminals
Wow.
of all fucking time.
Cold-blooded.
Really cold-blooded. It's bad. Wang Li had also told his friend Sean about this, like about the life insurance situation, and showed him a .38 caliber gun that he had in his possession, which is a firearm that's consistent with the gunshot wound found in Tai Dao's back.
Well,
Tai never had a fucking gun on him on the boat, most likely.
My God.
When you set up a murder scheme, you want to make sure that as many people
Everyone
as possible know all the details.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. Motive means an opportunity and intention.
Yep.
Got to tell that to multiple people.
Exactly. And finally, the autopsy report indicated upwards of 9 blunt force trauma wounds or marks on Tai Dao's head, which is inconsistent with Lee's claim that he hit him like once with a broomstick.
Yeah, a
To
broomstick.
incapacitate him and then push him over the edge of the boat. It also sure didn't help that Sheila's police interviews were sketchy as shit. She claims she didn't even know Ty before Wong had invited him out fishing, even though she'd been in Vegas with him at the Billy Idol concert a week prior.
Oh my God.
Quote, during a December 2019 interview with federal investigators, Ritzy told a series of lies, including when she falsely said she had never met the victim prior to the fatal October 15th, 2019 boat,
Oh my God.
according to the Department of Justice. She also said in a police interview that she has no idea why they're investigating Wong Lee, that he's a great guy who helps a lot of people.
Like me, get insurance
Yeah.
fraud.
Exactly. So
And
it's clear
drugs.
they're and drugs, yeah. So it's clear they're trying to cover up their connections and their involvement, despite Huang later claiming that this was all an act of self-defense, that they were in fear for their lives.
Yeah, they
But
did
then,
not
like,
get their
why-
story straight.
No, and then it's like, why did you not go to the police and instead put a tracking device on the deceased the deceased girlfriend that you'd already texted to and about multiple times about a life insurance policy? Like, honey, fucking, could your trail of breadcrumbs be any? It's just a bright yellow paint line that
Yeah.
you've now drawn, and you're covered in the paint.
You're a mess.
You're an absolute mess. So, yeah, this assistant U.S. Attorney General Scallywag made it clear during the trial that Dow was not dead when he was dumped overboard because the autopsy showed the cause of death was drowning. And he says beating, shooting, and then leaving the victim so far from shore shows they intended to kill Dow. This was no accident.
Yeah, in a very brutal way.
Yeah. And ultimately, the jury agreed. Wong Lee was convicted of first-degree murder within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the U.S., as well as conspiracy to commit murder and using a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence. He was sentenced to a mandatory life in prison. Quote, Lee committed murder, and as a result, the victim's family will never see him again.
What about Sheila?
We'll get to it. Prosecutors wrote in a sentencing memorandum filed in court, Lee's crime has left a grieving mother, grieving widow, grieving brothers, a grieving sister, and 2 fatherless small children. As for Sheila, she won't be lobster fishing for a while either. She was sentenced to 262 months in federal prison on charges of second-degree murder within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States and making false statements. So they both went away. She's going away for a long time, but not for life. She'll eventually get out. The victim's mother, this is really sad, but I just felt like you got to finish a story like this actually honoring this poor guy who got fucking killed.
For nothing.
For absolutely nothing. So the victim's mother, Ann Tran, said in a victim impact statement to the U.S. District Judge David O. Carter that she would, quote, never be able to get over this nightmare, and every day is a tearful reminder that I will never see my son again, and his daughters will grow up not knowing their father. You often spent time together with my son's 2 young daughters.
Oh my
they
God.
called you uncle and thought of you as family.
Oh my God.
How could you so mercilessly and violently murder him like this? It was incredibly heartbreaking and agonizing to sit in court every single day for months and see and hear all the gruesome details of this case. You lured my son by taking him on what he thought was a fishing trip. Then you shot him and brutalized him with metal hooks. I guess maybe that's what he was beaten with.
Yikes.
I didn't see the details on that. And left him to drown a slow, painful death in the darkness of the cold ocean.
Yeah.
Tran added that Lee never felt any pangs of conscience and said, quote, you continued to enjoy your life, brag about being a hitman, and tried to intimidate his family by tracking them. You have not only killed him, but you have destroyed his family and ruined all of our lives.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Yes.
It's wild.
It's no Russian nesting doll shark regurgitation, but it's pretty bonked.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
both of our cases have a lot of similarities. So we've got like a group of like criminal friends committing fraud and killing each other out on the
Yep.
open ocean.
Yep. Anyway,
Yeah, lots of
that's my
people
case,
like
man.
in cahoots and like kind of snitching on each other too.
a lot of cahoots and not locked up cahoots, like not tightened up cahoots.
Yeah.
These cahoots were loose as fuck. Loose cahoots.
Loose cahoots.
Yeah.
Make sure
kind
you're
of cahoot.
Yeah, make sure you're not riddled with loose cahoots when you're trying to pull off a
Suffering
murder.
from loose cahoots.
I'm always suffering from loose cahoots. I would never get away with anything ever. And also,
Wow.
my blue hair is shed everywhere.
Yeah.
The evidence would be overwhelming.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my case, folks.
Well done.
Good
Real
job,
sad.
guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.